Day 20, 100 day, 10 minutes a day taco challenge. We've reached 20. Thanks to the very few people that are still watching this. I'm going to talk about the lifting today, the most efficient lift, which I only kind of just figured out anyway. So we've talked about downstrokes, upstrokes, and then using the back for your sort of double pivot supination kind of thing. Sort of drawing a line sort of somewhere here, instead of being here, instead of this, which is fine. Sort of having that line kind of draw this way, and just using the back, you know, and having the single pivot obviously with it. Okay, so what is the most most efficient lift? So obviously we can lift, that's downstroke, we can lift that way, and having the upstroke. And what's happening there is we're lifting with the back, so downstroke is the back, and you're lifting with that elbow going forward first, which is mainly rotating up, and then this gets activated to bicep, and then coming down. So lift, so rotate, you're rotating and then bending, rotating, bending, rotating, bending, rotating, bending, rotating, bending. Nothing wrong with that, that's a typical taiko thing, but just a thought experiment. How can you make this lift most efficient without thinking about form? I think it's actually bicep first and then up. So bicep first up and then down. Bicep first up, down, as though you're kind of going backwards, kind of like that, you know. So I'll just show you in speed. So, and you can see it's getting full power anyway, and speed. Why? Because it's easier to lift with the elbow bent. So if you bend the elbow first and then lift, it's just way easier because it's less leverage, to less things are further away from you to lift. Okay, so if you want to be completely lazy, again, just a thought experiment. We're just doing that and up, and then because it's the look up day one, you're doing one pivot, two pivot, three pivot, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You're getting full power anyway by an elevation. So I'm bending up and then getting elevation up, and then you're going 1, 2, 3. So in speed it's lift, 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 bend, lift, bend, and then lift up, elevation coming down, bend, lift up, elevation. Now obviously might not be the best form looking, because it kind of looks like this, which isn't bad when you're doing fast, and it's really helpful when you're doing fast. Because you're keeping everything kind of tight and bending up before you go up. Ow! Hit the corner of the thing. So it's very useful for fast speed, and it's kind of very useful to do that, and then kind of learn how to use that for the bigger stuff when you're doing that, to move that rotator cuff first and then bicep for the bigger stuff. And if you use your legs, you can kind of do that with your hips, you know, sort of bending forward with your hips to get a little bit of that lifting motion. But you can sort of not completely straight, you can be just a little bit touch in speed. No one can tell, just a little bit helps with the lifting, because coming down is the same. You're just getting elevation, obviously. Yeah, again, if you haven't watched any of this, then go way back. But if you're using the front three and you're doing this, you see how much harder that is, how much tighter. I don't know whether you can see. It's just so much harder. This is how most people lift with that first three, and this is all tight. You're trying to lift, going against. It's so much harder than if you just start with a pivot, and maybe again start with just bending your elbow up and lift, and then down. So just start with that experiment. Lift, really stupid, with your pivot at the back. Lift, bicep, back, back down, bicep, back, back. It's really stupid. This is extreme, I know, but bend up, down, 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 and sort of make it bend up at the same time, not the same time, but sort of just microsecond before. Bend up, down, bend up, down. Think of it, elevation. Elevation is power. Bend up, down, bend up, down, bend up, down, bend up, down, bend up, down. So then, whatever feels the most efficient for you, for your body, and then you can get that disengage when you bend up, down, just like we did yesterday. And then you can get basically full power. Down, throw it with your back. Yeah? With your back. If you see on a regular taiko drum, I'm going far back to the pivot. With the practice pad, I'm going up a little bit higher, you'll notice, just because the weight bounces. So the technique I'm teaching you is much more. This is super loud, that's why I'm doing this. In the daytime, nighttime, people will kill me. So disengage, engage, disengage, down, disengage, down, disengage, back, disengage, back, disengage, and up, down. I think that's good. Starting, find the most efficient, and then you can always do bigger with your hips, with the other things, for sure. For the visuals, and you know, it does give you more power when you're doing massive big things. Big drums, big sticks, which I don't have yet, but I have to go get. So for this lesson, bend up, down, bend up, down, bend up, and then sort of lean forward a touch to get your back coming down. Bend up, down, 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 bend up, down. Again, a lot of taiko teachers will give me shit for this because, you know, I taught to sort of doing that, which, as you can see, has full power once you get up there. Yeah. But lifting up this way is really hard and tiring. Okay, so just start with that, and then go forward with your hips. With your hips. Yeah. For the bigger bits. Hips, disengage, and go forward, rotate cuff, forward, rotate cuff, bend up, down. Okay, forward with the hips, bend up, down. Disengage, rotate cuff and hips at the same time, down. Rotate cuff. Rotate cuff. Once you get to here, you can bend up, because once you in front up looks big, and I'll finish it, and down. So it looks big, up, down. So together it will look quite big. All right, but as a thought experiment, bend up, down, just so you know what your muscles are doing. Bend up, down, and then you can add other stuff you're talking about. Yeah. Bend up, down. Yep. Now I'll do the practices yesterday. Putting my elbow nice and up. Okay. And forward version. Look at my shoulders. At no point are they strained. Any of the muscles fighting each other. Okay. How to lift is today.